السلام عليكم. يسعد مساكم جميعا ونعتذر للتأخير. And we would like to welcome all of you for our fourth workshop in this summer, which is going to be about common grammar and punctuation mistakes, presented by Mr. Muhammad Rashidi. And Mr. Muhammad, if you are ready, the floor is yours.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. مرة ثانية نعتذر لكم من التأخير لكن خطأ بسيط. Okay, so one of the issues that we face as a tutors and the academic writing center and is that the students who are coming, they either lack the knowledge of the grammar rules or they don't understand how to apply these rules in their writings. So what we are here, we are going to talk about the most common mistakes that we face in the students' writing or on our treatise writings, okay? And these mistakes have been gathered by my colleagues, and we have discussed these mistakes many times. Okay, so why do we have to have a good grammar? Why do we have to have a good grammar? Why just we can't just write sentences and that's it? Why do we have to have good grammar? What's the point of a grammar? Okay, so I need you to tell me your thoughts. Why do we have good grammar? Why do we have to sound correct when writing sentences? Can you tell me your thoughts on that? Okay, before we start our workshop. Just type in your thoughts in the chat. Why do we have grammar rules? What's the point of a grammar? If we can just write anything. Structure, okay, that's good. Okay, very good. To make sentence more easy to understand, yes. So, I'm asking, why do we have a good grammar? What's the point of having grammar? Okay, so grammar rules are formed not just as a structure, but also to make sense, so that we can make sense of a sentence, so that we can understand, so that we know what's the purpose of this person. Okay, so here are the one that we are going to talk about. Okay, so first, why grammar is important. Second, the types of the most common grammar mistakes. The one that as I told you before, the one that we and my colleagues have talked about a lot, and the types of sentences also as well. This one of the issues that many of our students make is the sentence fragment or run-on sentence. You don't understand how to write a good sentence. Okay. Also, we have subject-verb agreement and parallel structure, which is very important when you write academic writing. Okay. Tenses as well and punctuation. So grammar is a set of rules which enable us to communicate. The purpose of our learning a language or of language itself is that we are able to communicate, is that we can understand each other, so if I say, if I heard someone, or let's say I heard someone says, I lost my keys, or I have lost my keys, or I lost my keys. So the idea that I have in my mind, if I heard someone saying like this, is that this person doesn't have his keys right now. Doesn't have his key right now. But if I heard someone says I have lost my keys, then that doesn't have his keys right now. But if I heard him saying I lost my keys yesterday, then I would safely assume that he might find it. He might find his keys now. Okay, so the grammar can change the meaning, let alone the purpose of the sentence. What does the sentence serve? Okay. Also, punctuation is also is essential in understanding the intended meaning. of the sentence. So you can't just write sentence without a proper punctuation, because if you do so, we wouldn't understand your writing. We wouldn't understand it. Okay, we use comma for certain purposes. We use full stop for certain purposes. Full stop are used to indicate that this is a full sentence. Comma, we use it before modifiers, okay, and before items. So don't worry, these rules are limited. No matter how they are, how the number they are limited, and they are quite learnable. So we can learn it, but we have first to avoid it, and we can then learn it. Okay. So what is a sentence? What is a sentence? I already wrote the definition here. As you can see, a sentence is a group of words that contains a subject and a verb which express a complete thought. It's important to know that if a sentence lacks one of these things, then we don't have a sentence. We have something else. We have either fragment sentences or dependent clause. So a sentence must have a subject and a verb, and must also express a complete thought. And as you know, a sentence is the end of sentence is a full stop, and each paragraph consists of a group of sentences. Each paragraph consists of a group of sentences. The question is, what types of sentences do we have in English? Who can tell me what types of sentences do we have in English? How many types? First, how many types do we have in English? How many types of sentences do we have in English? How many types of sentences do we have in English? Okay, that's good. Simple, complicated, informative. Informative, interrogative, this is the one that we call function, the function of the sentence, not the type of the sentence structure. We're talking about the type of the sentence structure. Okay, two types. Okay, that's good. Okay, at least you know that there are more than one type. That's good. So, statement, questions. Okay, this is the purpose or the function of the sentence, not the type of the sentence structure. Okay, so here are the sentence structure. So we have simple sentence, which is a sentence that contains one independent clause. Independent clause is the clause that can stand alone. Can stand alone. Okay, so we don't need anything to attach to that clause to make it understand. It's already understood. Okay, so the sentence here is scientists believe water is important. Okay, this is a simple sentence because it contains one independent clause, and it's a full sentence because it serves a full purpose. The purpose of it's a complete thought, and it has a verb and a subject. It has a verb and a subject. So we have first simple sentence. Then we have compound sentence, which is two independent clause joined by coordinating conjunction fan boys. Who can tell me what is fan boys? Who can tell me what is fan boys? What do we mean when we say coordinating conjunction fan boys? What do you mean by that? Yes, very good. Excellent, Brenda. Yes. What else? Yes, very good. Not or. Yes, very good. Yes, or, yeah. Yes. And what else? Yet. And yet. Okay, very good. So it is hard. Now this is different. This is different than the list. It is hard to find a new good book, but it is easy to find a new shoes. Here it is hard to find a new good book, but it's easy to find new shoes. This is two independent clause. This is two independent clause joined by a conjunction, a coordinated conjunction, which is but here in this sentence. We use these to make a contrast between two clauses. Okay, to contrast. To understand this very clearly, you can say it is hard to find a new good book, and you put a full stop, and that's it. Okay, but to make a certain contrast, we use but. Okay, we use the word but. Okay, complex sentence is the third type of sentence structure. Complex sentence has an independent clause, an independent clause, and at least one dependent clause. And at least one dependent clause. A dependent clause, which I put in this color, is something that is a clause that cannot stand alone. Is a clause that cannot stand alone. Okay. So in this sentence, I was taking a nap when he called me. The dependent clause is when he called me. The dependent clause is when he called me. So this is something that cannot stand alone. If we heard someone, so if we see something in written or something, when he called me, we wouldn't understand this. We wouldn't understand, would we? We wouldn't understand this because it cannot stand alone. It needs something to attach to it so we can understand it. Okay? It needs something to attach to it so we can understand it. So a compound complex sentence, which this is the most hardware one. A compound complex sentence has at least two independent clauses and at least one dependent clause. So two independent clauses and one dependent clause. So I have this sentence here. Laura forgot her friend's birthday, so she sent her a card when she finally remembered. Okay? So this is a compound complex sentence because this is an independent clause. This is a dependent clause when she finally remembered, and they are joined by fanboys here, coordinated conjunction. So she sent her a card. So two independent clause attached with one dependent clause. Attached to one dependent clause. Okay. All right. Clear? Is it clear for you now? Okay. Now let's go to the next. Thank you so much. Next slide. Okay. Now I want you to take 5 minutes. I will give you 5 minutes to choose or to type the correct type of sentences structure. Just type the correct types. Just type the correct types of sentence structure. Okay. What do you think the first one is? What do you think the second one, and the rest? Okay. And I will tell you the answers. Okay. 5 minutes. Think about it. And okay, I'll back inshallah. I will be. Okay. Complex sentence. Okay. Complex sentence. A sentence has an independent clause and at least one dependent clause. So I was taking a nap. This is independent clause. When he called me, this is a dependent clause. Okay. So after I saw him, this is dependent clause. We need something to attach. After I saw him, I waved to him. Okay, I waved to him. So this is dependent and this is independent. After I saw him, this is dependent. We can't understand the full sentence unless we attach it to another clause which is independent. Okay, thank you so much. Now just take 5 minutes and thank you so much. Take 5 minutes just to think which types of sentence structure are these sentences belong to. Which types of sentence structure are these sentences belong to? Okay. Okay, thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much. Okay, I can see some good answers here. Okay, here are just okay. Yes. Now, these are the types of these sentences. Okay, the new laptop computer has already crashed twice, which is a simple sentence. Robert, a friend I have known since high school, doesn't eat meat, so Barbara made a special vegetarian dish for him. So these uh, two dependent clause, one independent, two independent and one dependent. I'm happy even though I don't make much money. This is complex sentence because we use even though. Even though I don't make much money, and if we stop, this is we can't understand it. So we need to attach with it. I'm happy. Okay. This new laptop computer has already crashed twice, and I have no idea why. Okay. A compound sentence. My brother and I went to the mall last night. This is simple sentences. Okay. Though we have two subjects, it's fun. Okay. Robert doesn't eat meat, so Barbara made a special vegetarian dish for him. So this is compound sentence. Okay. Thank you so much. Now, since we have, sorry, should go the other side. Okay. Now, sentence fragment. We have already explained what is a sentence. We have already explained what is a sentence. Okay. Sentence is subject plus verb which give a complete thought. A sentence fragment is the quite opposite. Okay. Or it's not the quite opposite to say it's lack something. Okay. No verb is fragment. Yes, very good. And what else? It could lack a subject. It could lack a subject, and it can't stand alone. As we say, when I call him, and if I stop there, then this is a fragment sentence. This is a sentence fragment. This is sentence fragment. Or when I say shows no improvement in your efficiency, then this is like a subject. Subject could be he, she, anyone. Think of these sentences. What went wrong? They lack something. They lack something which make a sentence complete. They lack either a subject or a verb, or they can't stand alone. So a sentence fragment is a group of words that looks like a sentence but actually is not a complete sentence. Usually missing a verb or a subject. I always find this in students writing. They write something like this one of the greatest. Okay, they're missing subject. They're missing the verb. They are missing the verb here. This is one of the most greatest inventions in history. I found it even with the graduate students, even with those who are doing their higher study. Okay, so always you have to look. Is this when you write something, you have to look at the sentence and tell yourself: is this sentence has a verb, has a subject, and does it have a complete thought or not? Okay. كل جملة لازم فيها النقاط الثلاث these three items. It either has a subject or has a verb or, and can stand alone. Okay, so fragment sentence, when you write, you have to look carefully of what you have written. You have to look carefully at what you have written. Okay, because it's very important to sentence to have these items. Okay, now these are fragmented sentences. Okay, and I need you now to tell me what went wrong with these sentences. What went wrong with these sentences? Something went wrong with it, and tell me what do you think? Okay. Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much. So, these sentences lack something. Okay, you're right. They are lacking something. So, these are the correction or the possible correction. Okay, so here, the first one, it lacks the verb to be, is. The second one also lacks the verb to be. This is the greatest news I have ever heard. The third one, Islam is one of the most important religions in the world. Okay, and number four, because this is present continuous, we can't just say showing. Showing is not a verb. Okay, it needs verb to be. Are showing, participant are showing now improvement. Okay, and the last no, and it's I have ever heard. Okay, I have ever heard. The last one, if I knew his number, I would call him. If I knew his number, I would call him because this sentence, the last one, needs something to attach to. Needs something to attach to. Okay, needs something to attach to, which is to make it make it full sentence. So if I knew his number, I would call him. If I knew his number, I would call him. Let's give it a full thought. Okay. No, we don't need to. No, we don't. We don't need to. This is the greatest news I have ever heard. Okay. So, run-on sentences. This is the most common mistakes that are done by our students. باللغة العربية نقدر نكتب عدة جمل ونضع بينها فواصل. نضع بينها فواصل. It's okay. صح ولا لا؟ In English, no, we can't do that. There are some rules. Okay. In English, we have some rules. So, لما تكون في ترانسفير من اللغه العربيه للغه الانجليزيه الطلاب يستخدمون الفواصل مثل اللغه العربيه ولكن هذا خطا. Anyway, so run-on sentence occurs when two or more independent clauses are connected improperly. Okay, لما تكون في جملتين او two independent clauses can't stand alone connected بطريقه خطا هذه run-on sentence تعتبر من الاخطاء. Okay. So, like this one, Nasser has published another book. This is his second book this year. So, we can't, طبعا أنا بعدت الكوما عشان تكون واضحة قدامكم. We can't use this sentence in writing because this is independent and this is independent. You can't use it like this. Okay, we have to use a proper punctuation. We have to use a proper punctuation. Okay, so we could say, to fix this one, we can use a period. We can use a period like this sentence. Participant could leave the study at any time. Period. They needed to indicate their preference. Or we could use the semicolon. The semicolon are used when there is to establish a relationship between two sentences or between two clauses. A semicolon is to establish a relationship between two clauses. For example, the university established new rules for social distancing at work. Semicolon. This has been an issue since the spread of pandemic coronavirus. Okay, so here we have two independent clauses. However, there is some sort of relationship. We indicate this relationship by using a semicolon. If there is a relationship between two clauses, then we can use a semicolon. Okay? And number 3, use a comma and a coordinating conjunction. Like this one. The writing center has two main functions. It helps the student on their writing, and it provides extra learning material to improve their language learning as well, as a whole. So here we have independent clause, two independent clause. We can't just put a comma and leave it like this. We have to use a proper coordinating conjunction. We have to use a proper coordinating conjunction. Okay, so we have to use and here in this sentence we used and. In this sentence we used and. Okay, number 4, use a subordinating conjunction. Okay, here this sentence, my major is paramedicine. I should learn how to communicate with patient. These are, if I omit because, if I omit the word because, then we have 2 independent clauses, and we can't just use comma. So I put because in the beginning. Can I write Nasser? This is yes. No. Yes, you're right. Yeah, you're right. Because it uses semicolon. Because there is some sort of relationship between these 2 clauses. Yes, you're right. Okay. So my major is paramedicine. So we use because as a subordinating conjunction to indicate, to make it dependent clause. To make it dependent clause. Okay. And we put a comma, and I should learn how to communicate with patient. Okay. I should learn how to communicate with patient. Okay. Okay. Now these are run-on sentences. As you can see, there are 2 independent clauses, but they are connected improperly. Could you please fix it? Could you please fix it now? Okay, يعطيكم العافية. Okay, I can see some good answers. Okay, now run on sentences. Okay. Okay, so let's check the possible correction, and I'm saying possible because you can change it whatever suits you. Okay, so these are my answers. The research examines the perception of students using online tools in classroom. You should use a full stop. Okay, the results were collected for online polls. So we have two independent clauses. We have two sentences now. When we use طبعا خليتها بعيدة شوية عن الكلام عشان تكون واضحة بالنسبة لكم. When we use full stop and the other word is capital, started with capital, then we have two sentences. Now we are avoiding the run-on sentences. We are avoiding a grammar mistake. Okay. The second one, اللي الغالبية جاوبت عليه. The professor said that he read my paper, but he hasn't yet graded it. But he hasn't yet graded it. So here we use subordinating conjunction. We use the word but. We use the word but. Okay, so we make a contrast between these two clauses. So وين زي التناقض. Okay, بين the two clauses. Okay, and we here it's fine to use a comma. Here it's fine to use comma. Here, the movie was legendary. The director was nominated for the award of the best director of the year. Okay, I put the because here, okay, to make it dependent clause, and then we can use full stop. I see some of you use but here, but it's wrong. We can't use but because the movie was legendary. Something positive. Legendary يعني كلمة positive. كلمة positive. اوكي ما في كونتراست بين الكلمتين هذه. الفيلم كان ليجندري طبعا اقدر اترجمها اسطوري او عظيم. الدايركتور المخرج ترشح لجائزة افضل مخرج. اوكي ف نعم فما نقدر نستخدم ما نقدر نستخدم but here. Okay, because ممكن the movie was legendary. The director was nominated for the award as a result of that. Yeah, okay, very good. So, chocolate ice cream is delicious. The vanilla pudding tastes good. Okay, here we use semicolon because there is طبعا هذا أكثر شيء يعني فيكم يعني شوية بلا deep يعني في relationship بين الاثنين. في relationship بين الاثنين. Chocolate ice cream is delicious. Okay, the vanilla pudding tastes good. The vanilla pudding tastes good. So there is some sort of relationship between the two clauses. So when you use a semicolon, when you establish a relationship between two clauses, then we are avoiding run-on sentences. We are avoiding run-on sentences. Okay. Okay, the movie was legendary. Why would you use it? And number 3. Okay, I think you can use it. I think you can use it. Yes, I think you can use it because there is some sort of relationship between the two clauses. I think you can use it. Okay, but you have to be very careful when you use the semicolon. You have to be very careful when you use semicolon because you can't just use it randomly. Okay, now let's go to the next slide. Yeah, it has you have to establish a relationship between the two clauses. So you can, okay, there are almost 12 tenses in English. However, the most common ones in academic writing are present simple, past simple, the present. Verb tenses is what we learned in school, what we learned in every book of English. You will see verb tenses. Okay. المشكلة في استخداماتها اليوزج. المشكلة في اليوزج. Okay. البريزنت سمبل طبعا الجنرال تروث الأشياء الحقيقية العامة اللي لا تقبل. أوكي. habitual action الأشياء بالعادة. This Ahmed visits his brother every single day. Okay. Timetable. The train leaves at 6 a.m. or this workshop starts at the workshop starts at 7:30, or this is the most important one for me. I think is the abstract of research. لما طلاب الدراسات العليا الabstract of research, they should use present simple. They should use present simple abstract research, like this one, like this example. The research investigates the correlation between the number of students who come to a writing center, academic writing center, and their improvement in writing. So هذا تحصل في الابستراكت الملخص للدراسة أو الرسالة الثيسس. فنستخدم present simple. نستخدم present simple. Okay. Now the class starts at 11 a.m. I usually read the book before sleeping. طبعا of course you know that after third person singular you have to use the verb must take s. The verb must take s at the end. Okay. The verb must take s at the end. So all you have to know now is that general truth, habitual action, timetable, all present simple, and abstract of research. Abstract of research. Okay. Past simple, completed action at specific point in the past. مثل المثال اللي ذكرناه في البداية. I lost my key. So it's a completed action at specific point in the past. I lost my key yesterday. So this is a complete action at specific point in the past. When the past research at specific point in time, use the tense with the word that indicate specific time in the past, such as 19, last year, yesterday. So when mentioning past research at specific point in time, لما في الابحاث الأكاديمية لما تكتب شو اسمه literature review, you should always use past simple when you talk about past studies. Okay. Here at Melbourne last year. I went to Melbourne last year. So last year indicate a specific point in time. A specific point in time. العمري الدايركتور للرايتنج سنتر طبعا استأذنت منه واخذت البحث حقه. العمري 2019 investigated metacognition strategies that were used among second language writers in the United States. Okay, so here we use ED. We use ED when we talk about past research. نتكلم عن دراسات سابقة. فلما أكتب literature review أكتبها في الماضي. Okay. نعم. Most of past tense are using in the literature chapter. Yes. طبعا when we give background information we use present perfect. For example, number of study have discussed something. Okay. بعدين الدراسات تكون في الماضي. Make sure to change the form of the verb in the past to the past form by adding ed or check the list of irregular verbs. طبعا نعرف كلمات مثل investigate we can use ed investigated. Write we have to change it to wrote. Okay. Write we have to change it to wrote, which is the past simple form. Okay. The most important thing, methodology is in the past. The methodology في الدراسة in the past, results also in the simple past. Okay. Methodology is in the past and result simple also in the past. Okay. When do we have to use present perfect? It's completed action without mentioning a specific time, and this is the most important, with relevance in the present. With relevance in the present. يعني في نتيجة شيء حصل في الماضي في نتيجة في الحاضر. Okay. Usually used with words as just, already, recently. It is used to give background statement. Okay, it is used to give a background statement. لما في الدراسات السابقة أول جملة we use present perfect to talk about background statement. Then we start with the past simple. Discussion is I think it's in the present simple. Okay, it's in the present simple. Laura has just completed her thesis about feminist and politics. Yeah, present simple. Present simple, yes. Okay, discussion chapter. Thank you so much. This is a very good question. Okay, in the present simple. Okay, Laura has just completed her thesis about feminist and politics in the United States media. Okay, so here has just completed. This is indicate present perfect. This is indicate present perfect. So we use this because we use this word just. So we make we choose present perfect to make the sentence. Several research have investigated. This is when you start your literature review. Several research have investigated the importance of using of communication toward patients, for example. So this is a background information. بعدها تبدأ تكتب الدراسات السابقة في الماضي. اوكي نعم اوكي. So correct these mistakes. حاول تخليها اقرب للدراسه للاكاديميك scientific research عشان تكون اقرب. اوكي. Just correct these mistakes and be careful. Okay. Okay, يعطيكم العافية. Okay. Okay, let's check the. Okay. He left the house last night. Okay, so we use left. We use list. We use left here to because it's in the past. Leave. It's the past form of leave is left. Al-Rashidi investigated the relation between the urgent need to reform the education and the call for new liberalism in education. طبعا استخدمنا هنا لأنه دراسات سابقة we use specific time the past. Okay. طبعا في هنا typo. It's only we should only use that, but it's just a typo. Don't worry about that. Don't worry about that. Okay. I read the book. I read the book. I read a book about challenging misogynistic attitude among children in the last April. Okay. هنا ما يحتاج ان نقول لان عندنا specific time in the past. Since we have a specific time, we should only use did. طبعا بعضكم كتب had. انا اشوف الاجابات بعضكم كتب had. had نستخدمها when two past we have already finished our studies, so we will go back to okay. نعم أحسنت. When two action happened in the past, one happened before the other. عشان كذا نستخدم هذا. هنا ما نستخدم هذا، نستخدم sentences. In conclusion, the study has investigated the relation between sampling size. نعم أحسنت سؤال وجهي. طال عمرك في الconclusion أو في الconclusion نستخدم غالبا present perfect. نستخدم غالبا present perfect. أوكي. ففي الconclusion نستخدم present perfect. فعشان كذا هي اوكي. Anyway, any questions regarding this? Just please forgive me for the typo. Just okay. Subject verb agreement. Okay, this is the most background information. Yes, background information. Okay, this is the most common mistakes in second language writing. Okay, لأن بعض المرات ننسى الفعل هل هو واحد أو اثنين والفعل لازم ننسى السبجكت هل هو واحد أو اثنين. We must know that subject and verb must agree. Subject and verb must agree. Okay. If a subject is singular, the verb must be two, and vice versa. يعني the kind of subject singular, the verb must be singular also. He likes to read. Okay, we don't say he like to read. He likes to read. Okay, but my friend and I like to read. My friend and I like to read. Okay, they have brought food with them. So we have here should follow the subject, which is they. They have. When a compound subject are used and is connected with and, use plural form. My friend and I go to university by car every day. My friend and I go to university by car every day. If there is a singular subject and more than one verb, the verb must agree with the subject. كان عندنا singular subject and more than one verb, like this one. The verb must agree with the subject. You have to follow the subject. Okay, you have to follow the. His research establishes a new area in the field and opens a window on a totally different subfield. So the subject, his research, okay, establishes. This is the first verb here. Opens, second verb. So they all must agree with the subject. They all must agree with the subject. If a noun phrase comes between subject and the verb must agree with the subject. The movie, despite all the negative reviews, has grossed more than $100 million. Okay, has grossed more than $1 million. All right. So, despite the noun phrase, the verb must agree with the subject. Okay, when two or more singular subject connected by or use singular verb. لما يكون connected or use singular verb. The coach or the manager decides to bring the player from the field. Okay, when two or more subjects are connected with or, one singular and the other is plural, the verb. Okay, so and the verb agrees with the closest, the word proximity. Okay, here the students or their teacher was allowed to come to the graduation party. Okay, the student or the teacher was allowed to come to the graduation party. Here we use was because the closest one is singular. The closest one is singular. Therefore, we used was. Okay, this is the rule of proximity. Okay, so we use was because the closest subject is singular. And the second one, the teacher or the students were allowed. We use were because the closest one is a plural. Okay, the closest one is plural. This is when we use or. This is when we use or. Okay, clear? So with this word, each and each one, somebody, someone, are singular, and therefore the verb must be singular. Each of the committee's member of the verbs and sentence with singular subject. We use S with the verbs in sentence with singular subject. Yes, yes. If it's present symbol, we used. Okay, we used and third person singular, and also third person singular. With this word, each one, neither, someone, the verb must be singular all the time. The verb must be singular all the time. Each of the committee member is allowed to come. Okay, sure. So here, okay, I'm going to go back now. If a noun phrase comes between a subject and the verb must agree with the subject. مثلا the movie عندنا noun phrase, and despite all the negative reviews, has grossed more than $100 million. Okay, so the verb here has should follow the subject movie. Should follow the subject movie. Okay, don't worry about the noun phrase. You should always follow the subject. Okay, and here we have multiple verbs, but we have one subject, so they should follow the subject. Even if you have more than one verb, it's fine. They all must agree with the subject. They all must agree with the subject. Okay. Right. We've done this one. And here, with uncountable noun, always take singular verb. Education is important because education is yes, education is uncountable. Education is uncountable. Therefore, we use a singular verb. Some words are always come in plural, like earnings, goods, arts, surroundings, proceeds. These words are always come. These words are always come in plural. Our goods are produced locally, so these words comes in plural. Okay. These words are come in plural. Okay. When we use there is and there are, the subject here follows the verb. There are some issues regarding the plan. There is an urgent need for intervention. Here, the subject follow the subject follow the verb. Okay, the subject follow the verb. Okay, with collective noun like team, committee, group, or class, are always singular. Are always singular. Okay, my family loves to celebrate the national day together. So here, family is collective noun. Therefore, the verb must be singular. The verb must be singular. Okay. I'm sorry I'm taking too long. I'm so sorry, but we have to cover this before we finish this workshop. Okay. So parallel is a must. Okay. Parallel idea presented in parallel grammatical form. So let's see this sentence here. Harry likes walking, reading, and listening. They all gerund. So they all the verbs which are connected with coordinated conjunction, or each part of the sentence which are connected with coordinated conjunction, must follow the same grammatical structure. Must follow the same grammatical structure. So the second one, Harry likes walking, reading, and to listen. This is wrong because we have a breakdown of the parallel here. Okay, we have a breakdown of the parallel. Harry likes walking, reading, and listening, or Harry likes to walk, to read, and to listen to music. Okay, don't break the harmony here. Don't break it. If it's infinitive, then use infinitive. If it's gerund, then use gerund. Okay. Participants were told to study each picture carefully, to turn the page when the bell rang, and they should ask. This is wrong. They all should follow. The infinitive. They all should be infinitive. Okay. الABA style, الABA 4. اوكي السايتيشن وكتابه الدراسات العليا وهذا يجبرك انك تستخدم البارallel structure. اوكي لازم تستخدم البارallel structure, otherwise it will be wrong. Okay, otherwise it will be wrong and your paper might not be published. Okay, so participants were told to study each picture carefully, to turn the page when the bell sounded, and to ask. This is we use infinitive. Okay, we use infinitive. Okay, طبعا عنده بعد هنا الثانية الجملة الثانية هنا author wishes his book to be sold, to be celebrated or celebrated, and readers to recommend it to their colleagues. زين وش الخطأ هنا؟ وش الخطأ هنا؟ الجملة هذه ليش هذه خطأ؟ هذه جملة خطأ ليش؟ ليش الخطأ هذا؟ وش المشكلة في الخطأ هذا؟ Past, okay, not past, all right. ليش الجملة هذه فيها بريك داون؟ ليش؟ طبعا التصحيح تحت بإمكانكم تشوفون التصحيح. Okay, but tell me why do you think this sentence is wrong? Should be the same structure. أحسنت يا بندر. Should be the same structure, but here the author wishes his book to be sold. This is passive. Okay, celebrated around the world. This is passive. The second one, which is because it's connected with coordinated conjunction, it has to be also passive and to be recommended by his readers to their colleagues. Okay, and to be recommended by his readers to their colleagues. لازم تكون passive. إذا كانت الأولى passive لا تكون passive. إذا كانت الأولى active لازم تكون active. لازم يكون في تناسق. لازم يكون في تناسق بين الجمل. Okay. Here وهذه the most deep one. Okay, deepest one. The teacher asked his student to write their assignment carefully, accurately, and in detailed manner. هنا فيه breakdown. لأن نستخدم هنا prepositional phrase. Okay, here carefully, accurately, and we can use other word, thoroughly. Okay, thoroughly. We can use other word, thoroughly. Okay, so أحسنت. Adverb as a sequence. أحسنت. Adverb as a sequence. Okay, to write the assignment carefully, accurately, and thoroughly. So لازم نتبع that. Thoroughly, you have to change the word. If you must to, you have to change the word. وإحنا راح نصل إلى word choice في السلايد اللي بعدين. Okay, clear? So these one they are the most important one. You can always Google it, parallel structure. You can find many websites with many exercises, and I will give you website for that. I will give you some website for your practice. Okay, I'll provide you with the website. I'll provide you with books that explain this structure because it's very important. Okay. No, this is the most important point. I'm going to read very fast because we don't have time. But this is the most important point to remember about punctuation. Comma. It is used to separate between items. The university has decided to establish parking area, a hospital, and a new mosque. Okay, so these are separated items. كده أفهم إن هذه separated items. Okay, that's why I told you before. Punctuation are not used haphazardly. They are not just like this. They are there to make points. They are there to make points. They are there to let us understand what's going on. Okay, between modifier. الموديفاير اللي هو الصفات او اللي تصل modify noun. The researchers has created a cultural, religious, and political view toward Orientalism. Okay, so between modifier, which is cultural, religious, and political view. Okay, so however, if the first modifier is descriptive and the other one is classifying, don't use come. Like this one, I wish I could go and live in an isolated summer resort. هنا هذه descriptive, and this one classifying. This is not just a resort. This is a summer resort. And descriptive because it describe the resort. Okay. If the first modifier is descriptive and the other one is classifying, don't use come. Okay. Also between cities, province, and countries, like here. Department Imam University, Riyadh City, Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Before cities, province, countries. Okay, just comma. All right. Okay, and the last one here, between non-essential clause or between non-essential clause. طبعا اليوم هذا درسنا اليوم عند طلاب الصبح. Okay, so Muhammad, who is a teacher, is a friend of mine. عشان تعرف هل هذا non-essential ولا essential, can you delete who is a teacher and then the sentence to be understood or not? If you delete who is a teacher, Muhammad, who is a teacher, is a friend of mine. If we delete this one, can it be? Can we understand the sentence or not? If we delete it, can we understand the sentence or not? What do you think? We can, Ahsan. We can. Very good. We can. Okay. We can be excluded and the sentence is fine. Okay. But the second one, this man who lives near us. Okay. This is the man who lives near us. This is the man who lives near us. Here we can't delete who lives near us because we will not understand the sentence. Okay, so we do without define it clause. Essential clause, don't use comma. Don't use comma. Okay, a semicolon, which is okay. Abshir. Okay, here between non-essential clause, Muhammad who is a teacher is a friend of mine. بما أن هذه تعتبر non-essential فنحط فاصلة بين الكلوز. Okay, لأن لو if we delete this, it will be understand. The sentence can be understood. Okay, the sentence can be understood. The second point, not fourth, please. Second point, you mean here? Okay, Abshir. Okay, between modifier, cultural, religious, and political toward Orientalism, we use comma. لكن إذا كان modifier descriptive and the other one is classifying, don't use comma. For example, I wish I could go to live in isolated. Isolated here is a descriptive. Okay, summer here we can't use comma because summer here is classifying. What kind of resort is this? This is a summer resort. It's not a winter resort. It's not a spring resort. It's a summer resort. So that's why we use classifying. Okay, and this is describing the resort. Okay. Okay. I'm gonna go fast just a bit. It is used between two independent clauses if there is a relation between the clause. We have done this. this computer is not working well, we call the IT. We call the IT to fix the problem. Okay, we call the IT to fix the problem. So here, the computer is not working well. هذا clause. We will call the IT to fix the problem. This is another clause. So we establish a relationship between two clauses. So we use semicolon. Before these connectors, الكلمات هذه, okay, the students started to have feelings of what we can call cold feet. Semicolon, however, he began to give a class presentation. Okay, so however عادة نحط نقطة ونبدأ بجملة فيها capital. لكن we can use it with semicolon. Okay, like this. بتكون small. Okay, the students started to have feeling of what we can call cold feet. However, semicolon. However, he began to give a class presentation. The relationship between preparations and the students' results are inconclusive. برضو, nevertheless, it's important to take the data in account. So here also, nevertheless, it's the same as however. Okay, it's the same as however. Anyway, it's okay. This is the one that was recommended by Dr. Bassel. Okay, as an academic student, you need to use academic in your writing. Otherwise, it won't be academic. It will be slang or colloquialism. Okay, so you have to use use academic word lists. So academic word lists are two types: general academic word list, which says almost 570 words. Okay, which is set the tone of the writing. Okay, the purpose of this article is to investigate the something. Okay, and technical vocabulary, which what we call what. Why should I use rather than start? Yeah, you can use it. Yeah, you can use it. Okay, you can use it with a semicolon. Okay, so what we call jargon. Okay, what we call jargon. Okay, so technical academic words that which are specific for for the specific field. For example, medicine, they have their own jargon, terminology. They have their own words. Okay, maybe we'll find it in another field, but it won't have the same meaning. Okay, it won't have the same meaning. All right. Now, academic word lists can be verbs like the word acquire, tend, influence, retain, adjective. اوكي without يعني لا تستخدم مثلا acquire, لا تستخدم get. okay, it's colloquialism. okay, you can use acquire. okay, adjective, details, complex, inferior, inherit, adverb, inevitably, ultimately, readily, solely. okay, and nouns also. okay, and nouns also. These academic words that you should use in your writing if you want your writing to be academic register. Okay, so the participant tends to act differently when he is with a group of his peers. Okay, so here we have tends. We have tends. We use the word tends. Okay, the drug has certain inherent side effects. Okay, inherent side effect. We use the word inherent. Okay, and the negation will inevitably end in dispute. The part of speech is listed in 8 classification. I think you must, all of you have come across these words before. Okay, so I'm going to give you at the end of this workshop, I'm going to give you a book that you can review. It has the list of all the academic words that you need. Okay, and you can choose it. Choose the word that is suit your sentence. Okay. Anyway. Academic collocation. So we have collocation, we have academic collocation. We have academic collocation, okay, which you need to use in your writing, or which you need to know at least, okay. So the combination of words formed when 2 or more words are used together, okay. So these words, highly controversial. Make a deal, take a holiday, do homework, make your bed. All of these are what we can call collocation. A collocation. Okay. Knowing these words would totally help your writing to become more academic registered. Okay, more academic register, and to avoid slang or colloquialism. Okay, and to avoid to become academic writer. Okay, so academic. So I will provide you at the end of this workshop with a list, with a link where you can click on and you can download the 2,469 words, which is academic collocation, okay? And it is divided in this structure: adjective plus noun, adverb plus adjective, adverb plus verb, and so on. Okay, and you can find that some words, if you are in major in some field like medicine or pharmacology or paramedicine, you can find that some of these words are occurrence in, they have this high frequency in your discipline. They have a high frequency, like the word media coverage, which is we can see a lot in media field. Okay, so this is an example of academic writing. So this is an example. I took this text verbatim from some article. So as you can see, this is how academic sounds. Okay, this is how they use the punctuation. This is how they use words. Okay, this is how they use semicolon. Okay, as you will see how it is done. Okay, so just to be quick, how to avoid grammar mistakes. I found that most of you know these rules. However, you must have forgotten them, or you make them by mistakes, as I make them also. Okay, so write on a regular basis. If you keep writing, then you can always have a better writing. Okay, always write with concentration. Okay, read carefully every sentence you wrote. You write. Yes, read carefully every sentence you write. Always proofread. This is the most important thing. Always proofread. Always looking for someone to proofread your article or your essay. Let your teacher, tutor, or colleagues read it for you. And this is one of the things that we call for a colleague peer feedback. Okay, to give you feedback. Given you writing a time, then go back to read it. خل كتابتك شوي ثم ارجع لها من جديد. Okay. If you think this is not enough, then refer to a suitable reference book which اللي بعطيكم معها. برضو visit Academic Writing Center if you are a student in KAU. Okay, here. هذه هي الكتب اللي أنا recommended. Okay. هذه الكتب اللي أنا recommended وكلها موجودة في السوق. هذا الكتاب ممكن تجدونه أنا حصلته بالأمازون، لكن you can find it يعني you can download it. Anyway, so عندنا الكتب الأربعة: Grammar English Use, most common one, and اللي أنا أنصح فيه Practical English Usage، لأنه مو بس يعطيك القواعد بل يعطيك استخداماتها، ليش نستخدم القاعدة هذه وليش نستخدم القاعدة هذه، وموجود في السوق يعني الكتاب هذا. Complete English Punctuation. This is for only punctuation. كلها 96 صفحة. أوكي، 96 صفحة. أوكي. now هذا الكتاب الأحمر Academic Vocabulary and Learning Writing، هذا اللي تحصلوا فيه الأكاديميك word الأكاديميك collocation. Anyway, here are some websites that I can say that I can give it to you. Okay. الويب هذه مفيدة. أول شيء British Council, famous all over the world. You will find plenty of topics about grammar rules, moreover you can test yourself through online quizzes. Okay, ما تحتاج British Council ما يحتاج. Okay, English Grammar Organization it has tests from beginner to advanced English. Also you can download all the lessons. يعني ميزة الموقع هذا انك تنزل حتى بدروس عندك. الصفحة هذه هي اللي جبت منها الكولوكيشنز. اوكي، PDF جاهزة، بس you just يعني type it in your browser وتطلع لك صفحة PDF ويمكن تقدر تنزلها. collocation الكلمات الكلمة collocation. اوكي. And always remember you can make an appointment on an academic writing center website. Okay, باستخدام الموقع هذا ممكن تحجز إذا كنت if you want more lessons, if you want extra lessons or extra tutoring or whatever. Okay, and acknowledged. I'd like to thank Dr. Basim for continued support. وأحب أشكر Mr. Kamal for providing the feedback and providing for this material. وأشكركم جميعا على حسن استماعكم والمعذرة مرة أخرى للتأخر. أخرتكم والمعذرة مرة أخرى. أوكي. وهذه الكتب أنصح فيها طبعا والمواقع. أوكي. وأنصح في هذه I'm not a doctor by the way, I'm just a teacher. أوكي. وهذه المراجع اللي رجعنا لها الكتاب هذا. أوكي. فأشكركم جزيلا على حسن استماعكم والمعذرة مرة أخرى على التأخر. Okay, thank you so much. Okay. Dr.
Thank you, Mr. Muhammad, for this wonderful, informative, and engaging workshop. And thank you all for attending this workshop. We'll still have about 10 minutes for questions. If you have any questions or any concerns or any comments, you can just raise your hand or type it in the chat. And also don't forget to complete the evaluation form to get a certificate and to receive a certificate. And thank you all for attending the workshop, and thank you, Mr. Muhammad. And don't forget, next week, inshallah, we'll have our last workshop, which is going to be mostly for graduate students. It's going to be about how to write literature review, اللي هي أدبيات البحث كيف تكتبها. And please don't forget, we'll see you inshallah next week. We'll stay here for about 10 minutes. If you have any questions, if you have any concerns, comments you would like to share with us, go ahead, raise your hand if you want to speak or type it in the chat.
اوكي دكتور باسم قبل الاسئله بس خليني اخذ لي مويه بس في وجهي ها. اوكي اوكي شكرا جزيلا على كلماتكم اللي ما استحقها صراحه، لكن يعطيكم العافيه وشكرا جزيلا لكم. What link يا بندر? What link? Just give me the link and I can قصدك الPDF. اوكي ابشر يا بندر.
Yes, the lecture is recorded, and inshallah, within 2 days, we will upload everything to our website. All the links, all the recording links for our workshops are available online in our Writing Center website. So you can just go ahead and check our website. You will see all the links and documents.
اوكي دكتور باسم، بس هذا اللينك حق الاكاديميك وورد ليست. اوكي الكولوكيشن، اقصد الكولوكيشن، هذا اللينك اذا انتم تحتاجونه على طول يطلع لك الPDF. بعطيكم الحين رابط الPDF كله. اوكي thank you so much يا بندر. thank you so much. اوكي هذا رابط الكولوكيشن، الاكاديميك كولوكيشن اذا احتجتوها، من بيرسون. تبغون تقريبا 2000 كلمه وكلمات يعني موجوده في كذا فيلد، يعني في كذا ديسبلين، في كذا تحتاجونها. اوكي يعطيكم العافيه.
All right, so since no more questions or comments, so thank you all. We'll see you inshallah next week, and please don't forget to complete the form, and we'll see you inshallah next week. Have a great night and great evening. Thank you all. Thank you, Mr. Muhammad. We'll see you.
يعطيك العافيه دكتور باسم. يعطيك العافيه. يعطيكم العافيه جميعا. يعطيكم العافيه جميعا. اوكي مع السلامه.